Hello there, Kim.
Well, hello, Kath. I'm going to start off by communicating the order that you've just given me to the viewers at home, where you must subscribe to the YouTube channel because we keep forgetting to ask and you won't get notified when the new episodes are out. So you can binge learn and also vote for your favorite designs and just be a better learning designer, because the show is pretty epic and there's so much learning and tools and all that sharing happening. So welcome to episode 11. What's up, people? Hi, Kath. Now we can go to normal mode. News.
We can.
What's happening?
Is there such thing as normal mode? I'm actually feeling quite tired right now, and I'm losing my voice.
Yes,
but
well,
it's all
welcome
good.
to a delusional episode. We've been recording today, but we're pumped. Episode 11. Welcome back to the show. Thank you all for watching. This is a learning design competition where participants take on a brief and they propose their solution and say, this is the best brief for you, Mr. and Mrs. Client. Their peers in the industry get to vote, which is pretty unique, and we're excited about that. The show is running in conjunction with the Learning Conference. Go to the learningconference.online to see all the epic stuff that we are creating in early August, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, in multiple time zones across the globe. And let me introduce you to a wee little session that is happening. Voice. And the power of voice for learning. And I've selected this session because there is a session, or someone's put a solution in that is voice orientated. And if you want to learn how to do what they're doing, this is the session for you. Voice is so good because it's basically on demand. You can say to your little Google Home or your little Alexa, hey, what's the weather? What's the news flash briefing? Or tell me a tip on this. Imagine the power of that in the workplace. So you will get to work with Myra Rowland and basically develop an Alexa skill. That's pretty cool. Then you have a little demo that you can take back to your workplace and you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Boss, look at this cool thing that I created. It's not that hard to do. It's really effective learning. Let's do it for our organization. And yeah, there'll be case studies as well. So that's one of the awesome solutions that's happening at the Learning Conference. Pretty excited, but let's get into the show and see who our special guest is today.
Our guest, oh my God, there's not even words for our guest. Phenomenal.
Dun, 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 dun. Alrighty, special guest today is Ashley. She's a senior e-learning developer, but really, she's an award-winning developer, instructional designer, author, and speaker. Welcome to the show. Bravo, bravo.
Yay!
So much for having me.
We're honored to have you as a guest. How are you going? What are you loving? Do you love the show? What are you loving?
Oh my gosh. Yes. This has been incredible. It's such a unique format, so crazy inspiring to see what everybody else is doing. And I think someone else mentioned it. Creativity is not dead.
Yeah. I freaking love it. Well, we're excited to have you here today. So as we get into the show, I'm going to hold back Kat's excitement because you're here as the guest and just say, sit down, Kat. I need to take Ashley through the brief now.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. People at home, viewers at home, get excited. If you haven't participated, you should actually take on this brief as a nice portfolio piece. It is a brilliant idea. We've got David here. David's the CEO. He's got a budget of $5,000, and what he's looking to do is help his team focus on the health and well-being of themselves, because he really wants to focus on his people so that he can serve his customers better. So he's putting emphasis on employee experience over customer experience. He don't got no LMS and he don't want one. He's looking for a solution that can be handed over and implemented straight away. His staff are 18 to 57 and there is no specific tech requested. Now the criteria, Ashley and viewers at home. Number one, can it be achieved within the budget? People are getting very ambitious for the money. We've restricted this budget because we wanted creativity and to see something different. We didn't want traditional e-learning, traditional face-to-face. We want you to think about learning in a different way. We want you to consider the look and feel. Look and feel is a very complementary skill to learning design. It's all about first impressions, good use of colors, fonts, layout, and easy to navigate. And the third criteria is, does it solve the client's problem? Obviously, that's what instructional designers and learning designers are all about. So we need to meet the needs of the business and demonstrate that they understand the client's needs through their submission. Well, let's have now look at the first submission.
All righty. So our first submission comes from Stephanie, who is a work-life brilliance coach. How amazing is that, Ashley? And let's have a look at Stephanie's submission.
I feel like this is her career already. And it's definitely demonstrated through her solution. Very strong instructional design coming through here. Stephanie actually made a little demo video as well that you can check out, explaining her rationale and her process in the approach to the brief, which I think has just added value in terms of wanting to learn more. But basically, let's see what she's up to. She's got 4 key steps to her program that she's promoting. She wants to start with info collection, which is through a survey. Now, what I like about this, and her dot points demonstrate action mapping, we are having Kathy Moore as one of our keynote speakers, where you actually get to have Q&A answered, like really intimate time with Kathy Moore. And what the questions that Stephanie's got are really demonstrate that action mapping being applied, because she wants to know from the LGBT.me employees, what are their thoughts on health and well-being? What stressful situations are they actually facing at work? How do they feel about the current state of health and well-being at their organization? And how do they actually want to be supported? So she's saying, give me that data, let me create a solution with you guys along the lines of what comes out of that. So when the data is collected, she chooses along with the employees where they want to focus next. And when she says next, she's saying the next 21 to 66 days. And this is cool because she's actually called out that is the crucial time to be able to implement a new habit. I think that's cool. She's got a credible quote here. So she's actually quoted Richard Branson. I think things like this really enhance your solution, saying this quote in particular is, take care of employees and they'll take care of your business. So she's really trying to get that connection with the decision maker to go, hey, my solution, it should resonate with you and you should choose me. Then she's talking about how are we going to execute this? What she's going to do is have email or do a public announcement like face-to-face. And then also things where they have the solutions up on the wall and they can do that dot voting, which is kind of like a design thinking activity to say, this is the initiative we want to focus on because we think it's going to have the biggest impact in our organization. And this is what we care about the most as employees. And then it's all about creating something. So this might come out as discussions. It could come out as meditation videos. It could come out as walking meetings. So we have really moved away. Stephanie has moved away from, e-learning, face-to-face training. And then she's saying, we got to commit, guys. So what are the actionable takeaways? And here she wants to focus on participation of the employees and a big focus on the why. So yes, Ashley, what is your reaction to Stephanie's solution?
I think this is a great solution. It's extremely budget friendly. I liked kind of referencing that power of habit type 3-week window for creating new habits. I love the almost a pre-test, a survey initially to kind of get the buy-in of your actual audience before creating a solution going in blind. So I think that this is a really great solution.
Nice. Kath, what are you thinking?
Yeah, agree. It's something that we saw in one of our previous episodes where I think it was Ghislaine was looking at surveying staff or doing some evaluation before going in. And when we're talking about working on a project that's a larger project, we do needs analysis. obviously this was not giving very much room to do a thorough needs analysis. She's going around it a great way, and she's finding a great way to actually do that and pull out from the employees what they need. And when you think about it, it's so valuable to do that. Otherwise, we're potentially giving them a solution that they're not even going to need or use or anything like that. So it's really focusing on them. I thought it was a great solution. The video, you'll be able to actually click on that in the Milanote link in the PDFs. Unfortunately, we're not going to play it here, but you guys can go when you're voting later on, go into her PDF and click on the link and watch the video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
Any other feedback on this?
No, I think if you do look at action mapping, it's kind of like that core foundation skill that you need as an instructional designer. And the questions there are, what makes this hard? What makes this challenging? Why is it not happening now? And what support is required outside of what actions and behaviors are going to change? Those questions are so transferable to every single learning problem that you're trying to solve for a client. So you just need to always, these questions she's got there, that's them. They're just rephrased slightly differently. And that's what you need to do as a learning designer for all the problems that you're trying to solve.
What I also like is she's not making any promises really on this. So if it took her quite a bit of work to come up with what exactly were the needs of the employees, she could basically come up with, she's kind of working on the fly. Okay, I've got this left in my kitty that I can now come up with a solution for that. It could be a simpler, it may be easier for her to come up with those needs, or it could take a lot more out of the budget. So that's just another thing that I quite liked.
Yes. Very cool.
So this was very focused on the instructional design, which it's not, this is what the show is about. You don't have to focus solely on the visuals, though the visuals are nice, because if I was the client and this was coming to me, I am a visual person. I like to see things mocked up. Yeah. But if it's a sound instructional design approach, which this is, then this gives me enough.
That is a good point, because we have been pushing the emphasis quite a lot. And I think what she's done well is there's a 4-stage thing. It's like identify, choose, create, action. So for the client, you are painting that picture that we've been trying to demonstrate. What is the value you're going to bring? And they can see a 4-step process. And a lot of times, if you can process something like that, clients can translate what that's going to look like for them.
And see their value for money.
Exactly. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
So now we have Troy, and Troy is a manager, agency learning and development at Qantas Airways. So here we go, Troy. I'm going to show your solution.
All right. Troy is proposing what we were talking about initially with the voice solution that Myra will be holding. So he's got this tagline, a new way to learn, mobile, desktop, watch, and voice. He is using CARD, CARRD.co. Haven't heard of it myself. It's an information portal. It's responsive, and he has got, he's saying it's about voice flow. So it's a user-driven voice experience. Now he's personified it, which I always love, and he's got Carly. So Carly is basically like a health coach, and she is available 24/7. And so how it works, and this blue part over on the right-hand side is kind of like, hey, Carly, how do I build resilience? And Carly comes back and she's like, hey, mate, let me tell you. And she might say, you can go and check out this YouTube channel, or you can go and read this article. And this is all stuff that's pre-programmed a lot of the time by an instructional designer, and you can do it in a way similar to a Google Sheet. It depends on what program you're using. I haven't used card.co to be able to recommend. But what the benefit of this voice technology is that it is just in time. It can recommend things like courses, relaxation sessions. Imagine Carly was taking you through a meditation. How cool is that? You're like, switch on this song, Carly, or, you know, play the meditation or play the breathing exercise. I just think that just in time element of voice is so cool. And then how this works is through, you've got Alexa, which is the Amazon product, or you've got Google Assistant, which is the Google product. And basically this goes a bit beyond me, but it's scoped to leverage an A-frame code. Nerd alert, no jokes. I don't know what that means, but he's saying that it's zero cost to create. And basically, yeah, he's got some pricing options in there because it's like a subscription type thing, quite low, but it talks about having it in place for about 12 months. So yeah, Kath, I know you're a big fan of voice. I'd love to get your reaction first.
Yeah, so I use voice flow. I've built a number of skills, and I've spoken at conferences on a number of times about voice. So I know what I'm talking about with voice flow, and it's phenomenal. And you know, the render that you, or basically the flow that you create, you can send out to Alexa and to Google Assistant. So you've got options there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost you anything, voice flow. So you can upgrade if you want. That gives you functionality to kind of bring someone in and collaborate and things like that. But you don't need it. So you can actually build skills for nothing. So I've never heard of Card, and I've just had a look. I'm trying to work out how that works. I mean, A-frame is VR. So you've got quite a few things that are happening here. But what I will say is I love the concept of Alexa devices being around the room, that you could literally just say, you know, like you said, Kim, give me, you know, so you can, the great thing about Alexa is you can make things private. So you don't even need to have it on a live skill out to the world. You can literally have them set around the office. Mm-hmm. You may have like a quiet room in which you say, you know, Alexa, open quiet room, and then quiet room might take you through some peaceful meditation, or you might, you know, just have a question, you know, can you give me some information about managing stress? Yep. What the nice thing about Alexa, as far as gathering data, is if you start asking for things and it's actually not programmed in the system, the back end of really Amazon, AWS, will tell you what people are asking for. So then you can go, oh, right, didn't think about that. And you can just keep kind of the next iteration. You could say, oh, I'm going to add that to that. So it's, yeah, I'm always going to be a massive fan of Amazon Alexa, especially when we're talking about this kind of solution, health and well-being. I don't think it needs to really be tracked or traced or anything like that. So this stuff is cool. Enough of me. On to Ashley. What do you think, Ashley?
Admittedly, I don't know a whole ton about voice-activated learning. It's something that I'm always very curious about when I see people talking about it at conferences. But I like that it's affordable in that it's free to use, and scalable in that you can opt into something like a monthly subscription. I also like that with voice activated solutions, it takes out some of that the thing I liked about the surveying in the previous example, in that if individuals don't feel comfortable identifying their needs, they can kind of do it privately just to the device. So I really like that end of it. And I like that, as you mentioned, Kath, the back end of Alexa kind of, it's not a true adaptive experience, but the developers can take that data that's collected and adapt the responses for future iterations.
Yeah, very cool. And like the devices aren't expensive either. You know, last time I checked, it's like $50 Australian, which is even less everywhere else, you know, to have one of these devices per branch. or like department area, you know, where 30 people can access it. So I think it's a very affordable solution, voice technology, just the efficiency that comes with it, the personalization, because that coach aspect is really cool. It is basically like you're talking to another human being.
Yeah. What I'll say is the card. So I've just looked this up. So you guys can go and you can click on this link again through Milano if you go and you want to check it out. So yeah. the link for this skill is, you can see where it starts. So it's like a landing page, the card, and then it kind of gives instructions on how to use it. I mean, Troy has done a great job. I mean, if I was a client and I was seeing this, I'd be pretty impressed. And obviously he's got information linking off to this. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's just, again, there's a lot of work though. So, you know, if a client came to me,
mm-hmm.
and this is not knocking it, Troy, it's a great solution. And it all depends on, you know, I'd say to a client, yeah, I can do this. And this is what I can put in place for $5,000, you know, and it might be, you need to come back to me later and I'll add the next bit on and the next bit on, you know. But if this is an experience that you think you'd like, this is what I can do for you within this budget now. You know, there's companies out there that are charging a lot of money for voice design. It's a real craft to do, especially when you're, you know, you got to have a lot of knowledge and skill to use AWS in its pure form. Voice flow is a little bit easier. It's a bit more drag and drop. But, you know, I think it's really great.
Yeah, I think really that's great. A good point is, you know, considering the scope and within the budget that's given you, but there's nothing to stop you from presenting back to the client and saying, phase 1, this is the scope. Phase 2, this is where we need to head. And that's so phase 1 is 1 to 3 months. Phase 2 would be 4 to 8 months or to 12 months, where you're setting yourself up for future engagement with your stakeholder and showing that you're caring beyond this one-off engagement and that you're in it to actually change behavior over time. Because a topic like mental health and well-being cannot be changed with one event. So what you're demonstrating is that you're in it for the time that it is going to take to make serious change, and you're invested to get your stakeholders to where they want to be.
Yeah. Really good design, Troy. Your last one was amazing as well. So nice one. Great job. All right. We'll move on to our next entry from Tom, who's a learning geek like all of us. And he has his own business called Evolve Learning Design. So let's have a look at Tom's submission.
All right. Mr. Learning Geek Tom has suggested me and you. I love that he's given it a campaign or a theme. It's about having a highly personalized social experience that is measuring the well-being of the employees. It's going to be responsive, HTML5, and he's also mentioned accessibility A level that he's going to meet. He really wants to personalize the learning where people can create their own account, and their own account then curates content relevant to them, where it provides articles, videos, and podcasts specific to their needs. What I love that he has presented, and I think this, like, if you look into health and well-being, you know, journaling is one of the key things that they say this is how you can change over time. And what Tom has done has put emphasis on a journal as part of the solution. Such a simple idea. It's a private space, but it also has the opportunity to be shared out as a blog if you choose to do that, where you can share your experiences and seek help from your peers. And he's going to develop it in Webflow. So really nice thinking of instructional design. And I'd love to get your perspectives as well on the visual look of this, because he's really brought in the brand quite well and a nice design. Ashley, what are your thoughts?
First and foremost, I love the branding. I think it kind of ties in the client's branding really well. I like that it's web based, so it's accessible to virtually anyone with an internet connection. And like you said, from a mental health and well-being standpoint, journaling is definitely always regarded as a positive step. So I like that he tied that in. I would be interested to see more about the execution of the curation and how on the back end who's doing the curation, because someone has to do that legwork initially. But yeah, no, it's beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I again, same feeling. You know how I feel about good design. I think it looks really, really polished, looks lovely, like how the learners would, you know, so if someone external to the organization looked at it, it's just got this login. It's not got anything that's kind of forward facing. You know, you actually have to log into it. Really love this screen. I actually really like the characters that he's chosen and the color scheme that he's brought in, and you know, just these little assets. They're just pretty and fun. And you know, this however is high-end design, and again, just going back to the budget of $5,000. You know, now he hasn't mentioned as anything with regards to him making videos and podcasts and things like that. So it could be that he's curating content from RSS feeds from elsewhere, and he's populating it in here. I mean, events could be a link through to a Facebook page, which takes you, you know, an hour, 2 hours to set up. So, you know, there's these things. It's just making sure that you're getting your money's worth and you're not offering more than what this is.
Yeah, what
this is worth.
Can afford.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And, you know, we had this conversation in the last episode. Some individuals, like I have taken on projects that I know I've undercharged them. And that's me. I take that on because I go, this is a feel-good project. I'd rather do it for good karma rather than money. But we do want to make sure that as an industry, we are charging what we're worth, because I actually see a really bad habit at the moment of people charging. Like, I went onto Fiverr this week and had a look at how much e-learning costs, and I actually want to make a video on it, because to charge $200 for, what was it, 500 slides or something ridiculous is like, you know, it's not good. It's not good. So,
and it's not the money thing either. I think some people won't be able to relate to the financial side, but it's your effort in hours as well. So just think of that framing when Kat's talking about this as well.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
The effort you put in, not necessarily a dollar figure, especially if you're an in-house learning designer.
And people dream of solutions like this. A client coming and saying, I want something different. I don't want a course. I don't want an LMS. And I find that building a solution like this is easier than building a traditional course solution, because being innovative is, you have fun with it, you enjoy it. So
yeah. And things that I just point out as well, when you have a Webflow or something like that, there's lots of, you can buy templates, right? And templates can be like $50. And you can get templates that are pretty much on point in terms of brand or colors already. So you don't need to do too much customization. So what that means is it is all in the content curation and the copywriting, and that's where your effort goes into the solution for this particular client, because you're able to just copy and paste into a template that is already pretty, they normally need a little bit of tweaking, but hopefully you can get a template so you're not building from scratch as well.
Yeah.
And just to finish, I like the me and you. I think this is nice to go focus on yourself, but, you know, empathize with others as well. So
Yeah.
nice work, Tom.
Awesome work.
Nexty.
Love it. And I love that you're using Webflow, because I love Webflow. Okay, now we have Matt, another fellow Australian who's a learning experience designer at Macquarie Bank. Here we go. This is what Matt has submitted, another new tool.
All right, so Matt is proposing Padlet. We've had this recommendation before. It's a digital canvas, and basically he's proposing this hub. So everything sits there on the home screen, and it's about content curation. So articles, images, docs, podcasts, and he wants to really encourage people to share, comment, and like, and have user-generated content as well. He also wants to put together a video where David, the CEO, is promoting the use of this tool for the organization and why people should care about it. And he wants to go out for regular pulse checks to see where the employees are at with this sort of stuff. He's recommending SurveyMonkey as well, so free tools that can be used. It's all about building a sense of community. He is recommending that there is a team, a working group that are set up to shape the hub and also to keep the momentum going, and that he will offer training as part of his solution so that they can make updates in the future. Well, what are we thinking, ladies? Ashley, you're nodding. I can see behind the screen, so I'll throw it to you first.
After the initial review and kind of considering, oh man, there's another curation tool which requires a lot of upfront curating. I do really enjoy the idea of crowdsourcing that curation, and the idea of having that crowdsourcing group, not only for the curation, but to keep people excited and engaged, almost like a community. So I really enjoy that.
It's a good point, because I think sometimes we can be brought in as learning designers or L&D, or, you know, where we're gone in and then it's like, okay, engagement over, project's ended, and then it falls down. And so when you have working groups or stakeholders across the business that are part of the project working group, it will build momentum. There is accountability. There is a plan that can be put in post when you're brought on or put onto another project within the organization as well. So it's a good idea. Kath, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's just maintaining it, isn't it? Just making sure that it stays current. I mean, it's actually a lot of work to curate this kind of content, and Ashley was just saying that before. So Padlet, yeah, again, we've not, or I've not used Padlet. This is the second time that we've seen it in the show, so I'm certainly interested in looking at it. It'd be great if there were tools out there like not like Anderson Pink, but in a way something that pulled RSS feeds for certain topics. But I'm sure that, you know, LGBT.me would have within this group plans to keep this content coming in and being appropriate. Yeah.
And I think that's something that people should be considering with this content curation is, how can you not do it yourself? How can you get user-driven content? If we think about something like Wikipedia, which is fully volunteer-based to my knowledge, where people are constantly updating and contributing to that because they're intrinsically motivated. So what are your strategies as a learning designer to get change champions in there, to get the buy-in from the organization to drive it from within, because they care and there's some motivation individually or collectively within there to take this and run with it. And your role is actually just to enable that within the organization so it's self-sustainable and you don't actually do any of the content curation.
So
you
for
could
example,
just basically have a skeleton and go, make sure you do a post every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 11 a.m. Now you figure out what needs to go into that.
I really like a designer called Aaron Draplin. I don't know if you've heard of Aaron Draplin, but he's very cool. Hey? Graphic designer. He's the guy behind Field Notes, and I wanted, this sounds really creepy, so forgive me, but I wanted to create a playlist that every time a video went on YouTube with his name, it went into my playlist. And so there are ways that you can curate. For example, you could have in each of those topics, mindfulness, mental health, physical health, you can curate your own playlists in YouTube from other people's playlists. Now that kind of stuff is fascinating. So it's like, okay, how can I now pull in content with these specific tags? So, you know, if LGBT Me was a disability company, they could start honing in on certain words so they've not got really irrelevant content coming into the stuff. It might even need to be kind of manually curated. But anyway, I thought that was really cool. It was only recently that I worked out how to stalk Aaron Draplin. And yeah, he's wonderful though. So anyway, I just thought I'd say that. So that is one thing that you can do, but I think that's one of the beautiful things about Anderson Pink and how it's got so big. And you know,
it's even simple things like you look at the hashtags. You can follow hashtags. So if you could set up a tool that is just looking for content that is filtered through a hashtag, maybe that's the approach. You know.
Yeah.
Setting up systems and processes as opposed to information, content, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I'd need to get into Padlet and actually look and see, does it have that kind of function, you know? But you've used Padlet, have you, Ashley?
Sorry?
You've used Padlet yourself?
I've just observed it happening. I haven't used it myself, no.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do some investigating, but very good, Matt. Like your approach. Okay, now we're on to Bridget, who is a senior instructional designer at EP Visual Inc. Let's have a look what Bridget has submitted.
All right, we've got the Take Care Initiative. It's a wellness toolkit. It's focusing on 4 pillars of exercise, eating, sleep, and support. The resources are made available to people, and these include things like recommending free fitness apps, food health apps, relaxation activities, ways to get active, and resources specific to the LGBT health needs. She's also looking at, this is quite interesting and unique. So well done to you, Bridget, where she wants to promote a health savings account that is a tax deductible contribution by employees. Totally different from a learning thing, but very tapping into the motivation of people to take notice and care. She said that this is $2.95 per employee per month. And then she's suggesting things like walking meetings, having a fun run, doing surveys of employees, that kind of pulse check, see where they're at, what they're caring about, how they're feeling. And she's trying to rely on what's available because she's conscious of the budget. So she's done a couple of mock-ups, put them in context. It's really nice to be able to see them, you know, in the responsive design and how they go across the 2 devices. Kath, what are your initial thoughts on this Bridget's solution?
Yeah, look, we've talked about this a few times as we've gone through the episodes of the show. Things like walking meetings and wellness Wednesdays and healthy snacks this stuff costs nothing for organizations to put in place, but sometimes to have it in a strategy, you know, I think things that are right in front of people, it just seems like they don't think of it. Sometimes it needs you know, a new set of eyes on the situation to be able to recommend some of these things. So I love that. So this is going to be built in. I was trying to look and see as Bridget suggested what tool this is going to go in. Oh, she said Weebly, Wix, or Google Sites. Okay, so it's just a simple tool.
Great tool, basically. Yeah.
See, if you use something like Google Sites, I'm pretty sure you can make them private within, again, you've got to think about, is this person on Microsoft platforms? Are they on, you know, Google? What's going to fit in with their infrastructure? And then the issue with external sites like Wix and Weebly, I don't know if they can be locked down unless they were just password protected and you just literally go to the site and you put in your password. So, you know, I'd always say, you know, I use WordPress myself, and most companies would have a website and some kind of, you know, hosting. You know, you can knock up a WordPress, even add an extra part onto your website that is locked down, that does have a password, or even if you use WordPress or something like that, it is a solution that you could, again, if you know what you're doing, put up a very simple WordPress site. I'm not sure if Weebly and Wix have these things to lock things down, but you know, certainly gives them a little platform to go in and find out information about exercising and eating well and relaxing and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so I don't mind this solution, you know, a website. You know, I'm more inclined to think this is better than a course.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, another thing about courses that I just wanted to mention is if anyone's building in a specific course and then the client has to update it, that's nearly $1,000 a year or more for someone to have to pay for Articulate.
Yeah.
To actually make a change to it. So just a comment. Whereas these things, you know, you've got the platform there and you're just jumping in and making a change. So
yeah.
But yes, I do like it. It's good, and that's a nice little initiative.
Yeah.
At Lively Me. Is it American? I'm going to look it up while you guys talk.
You have Google. What do you reckon, Ashley?
I kind of echo Kath's sentiment in that I think that leveraging the tools that are available internally. I mean, I know this organization doesn't have the need or desire for an LMS, but a lot of organizations have internal systems such as SharePoint sites, and that could be something that you could easily use as a platform to post this type of content. I love the idea of an HSA and health spending account or health savings account. I think a lot of organizations, I'm not sure about Australia, but in Canada, we have a lot of that. And it's really nice to be able to say, oh, well, I have X dollars per year to spend on massage or new running sneakers or what have you, so that I can maintain my mental and physical well-being.
Yeah.
So I love that. I will say again, it's going to come down to a lot of the programming costs. You probably, for a solution like this, even with things like fun runs and walking meetings, you still need the planning that goes into that. So I think that this type of solution would operate very well on a committee type of membership, so that you're kind of crowdsourcing that effort, and it's not all falling on one person.
Yeah. And I think like what we're seeing with these examples as well, to point out, is, you know, it is thinking outside the box, and that's what was part of the brief. But to me, the box is a screen. The box is a mobile phone screen. It's a piece of paper, a document, a policy, or a computer. And it is basically looking around at the world and focusing on the actions and behaviors that you want to replicate in the real world. And how do you create experiences to enable that to happen? And things like, it is very easy to just have a dot sheet of a supervisor kit saying, when you host your next catch-up one-on-one, go for a walk outside, go for a coffee outside, you know. So being able to think from that perspective, that is good learning design, because you are solving a problem and not just trying to put a solution forward that is that inside the box, or whatever the reverse of outside the box is. So yeah. Kath, did you find your response or the Google answer?
Yeah, I didn't know what an HSA was, and then Ashley went and explained it.
Yeah, same. I didn't know they existed. I thought it was.
Yeah, we don't have them. We're a bit backwards here in Australia. we don't have that. So what do we have? We don't have anything.
That's your own savings. I don't know. Well, we have good Medicare and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we do, I suppose.
One last comment. I will say they're not common. They're more common now in 2020 than they once were.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Last comment, Kath, you were going to say?
Last comment is just, again, if I was a client and I received a solution, a brief, and I was from an LGBTI organization, it wouldn't, look, I'm not saying it really matters, but it does tell me a story if I've got some kind of indication other than the logo that we've given, that they understand that this is for the LGBTI community. So all of those images, there was an opportunity there to put an image that was still a stock image, you know, that just was, I don't know, not so stocky. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think
What's your thoughts, Kim?
Careful of what images we are choosing, because our eyes are visually attracted in the first place to imagery, and that tells a story. And that story, where it resonates with the viewer, is, do I need to read the text underneath this? Or do I need to read the text that's associated with this image? So you need to be very careful about the attention you're drawing with the image. Sometimes you can glaze over an image because you don't see it, because the tone is wrong. It's too stock image. So you're kind of repulsed by it, or you're ignorant to it, or blind to it. So it is a visual element. And there is that, I can't remember what the communication percentage is, but like what people say versus what they see versus what they hear. There's some percentage breakdown demonstrating that visuals are very important. That's why we use things like icons and stuff. So take the time to dig a little bit deeper on those licensing imagery, royalty-free kind of sites, and get good themed images. Look at places on Instagram, accounts on there like web design, UX, graphic design, UI, and Google the same stuff as well, to really, you'll see by scanning through a lot of images what stands out and what doesn't stand out, and then you need to replicate that for your solution.
And what I'd be inclined to do, if I, let's say I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, I might make this a lot more generic, you know, just literally put nothing where the image goes, just wireframe it up. So that they're not focusing on the design. And then I might find a whole load of images and different texts and things like that, and just create a little mood board underneath the wireframe. So they're understanding, right, well, I'm going to get something for the desktop. I'm going to get something that's responsive. It's going to be on the phone. And here's some ideas. And then the client can look at it. So that was the only other thing that I just thought there was an opportunity there to put in, some kind of imagery that at least represented the community. But it still is a great solution. So well done. And I think, we have got Līga. I thought that was it. So we've got Līga, who's a graphic designer from Faster Course. And let's have a look at Līga's submission.
Talking about visual design, Līga is a graphic designer working within an e-learning agency. What you're about to see, just beautiful graphics. So she's proposing 7 posters. The colors are taken from the logo, and it's all really out there, colorful, eye-catching design, where she's going to have print and digital, where it can be printed out and put in lunch places and stuff like that by their desks, but also have them as desktop screensavers or wallpapers. She's got a couple of themes going on where it's like eat better, work better, take breaths, hydration, hygiene, ergonomics, fight the stress, be active. So her themes to go along with the colors. And then it's all about reinforcing the behaviors as you've always seen. And this is quite budget friendly because it's literally the content, the copywriting, and then also the graphics. And then she's saying, let's save on budget by doing something like this, where you can actually put your budget towards things like fruit deliveries, yoga. So you could, have a room in the office where you play a YouTube video and people participate and make plants and have plants around the office. And then you can hand it over quite easily. And there really isn't the need to update, but it's always present in their forefront because it's a poster you can recycle over and over, and a very clear brand and art style coming through from Līga. So, Ashley, what do you reckon? What do you like?
I love the visuals. I love the vibrancy. It's beautiful. I like that each of the posters are tying in colors from the logo and the branding. I also really like that the reusability of the assets. So it's not just a poster, it could be wallpapers or screensavers or what have you. So I really enjoy that. And I also like that she mentioned reallocating some of the budget to hey, let's not spend it all. Let's repurpose some of that $5,000 and do something for our community.
Yep. Right. Kath?
So I jumped out of my seat when I received this and I went, woohoo! Because this was the solution that Kim and I spoke about, wasn't it, Kim, when we put this brief together? We said we want to see things that are like screensavers and posters and things that are right in front of people. Now, that's not saying that we don't love the other solutions. We absolutely do. But this was just, I just thought this was lovely and a great way to get information across just in front of people. Obviously, can be used in so many ways. I mean, I look at these assets, you could make stickers out of them. They could be stuck all over people's seats and desks. And, you could do, the sky's the limit with the tools that could not only be used within the business, you could even drop it out to the clients as well. Or, the sky's the limit. So I like this a lot.
Yeah, I have to say well done, Līga, as well. Like, there's very common design trends that are out there, and they come and they go, and this is the design trends of 2020 and stuff like that. And what you've really done is just gone, nah, this is just what I think is going to be epic, and I'm putting this out there. You've made a very bold statement. You haven't followed design trends. I don't know where these images, if they're your own images, fantastic, but you've got a clear boldness going on, and it is really creating a standout from anything that we're seeing across industries, to really make you stop and go, what is that? And I think that's good learning design. So well done.
Yeah, awesome job, mate. Great job.
Now.
Oh, Nyla Spooner. Are you ready?
Ready, steady.
Ready, steady. She needs no introduction, Nyla Spooner. She's an absolute gem. Instructional designer at Halliburton.
Also a speaker at the Learning Conference, focusing on career progression and mentoring and making the most of your career based on experiences that you've had and those transferable skills. Shout out, Nyla. Woo, woo, woo.
And what I'm going to say, Nyla, is the video that Nyla has been so good. She's been actually vlogging about this on her own YouTube channel. So the link should be in the Miller note, but I'll also pop it in the bottom. I'll log it in at the bottom of this video. So if you want to go and check out Nyla's video, you can see her whole process. Anyway, let's have a look what she suggested.
Okay, so we did speak last round about, a clear hero image and drawing attention to your initiative. And I think first impressions here, we've got that. Now, what Nyla is proposing is Welma. Welma is the name that she's given to her Slack-based bot. I have an image of like a real old granny sitting in a rocking chair when I hear Welma. But I feel like she's wise, and she's lived her years, and she's going to be that kind of nurturing figure.
It's not Wilma, it's Welma, like
no, that's what I'm saying, mate. That's my accent just being funky. I'm saying Welma, like W-E-L-L.
She's Irish, Nyla, so...
Welma, yeah. I was pronouncing it the way I was hoping to, but it's not being communicated that way. Anyway, we'll call it Zach from now on. So Zach is a Slack-based bot, hoping to create connection, resilience, mental health, and it will be built using botsociety.io. It's got 4 priorities, Welma, which is help. So we want to find inclusive medical practices, inspire, action like movement, breathing and drinking, support and educate. Now, how is this going to be done? Well, a learning experience designer creates the user pathways behind the scenes, which would be common to those kind of voice tools that Troy had. They then send invites via email. You can interact with it at your own pace as a user. It has its own personal wellness path. You can share stuff. They can gamify it using badges and score logs. And it also makes recommendations based on your profile. Well, Ashley, what are your thoughts?
So I like the idea of using Slack because it's something that a lot of organizations are probably already using, like Slack, Microsoft Teams. It's an application that is probably familiar. The back end, I also love the name, and I love Nyla. So there's a lot of love going on there. But I think we go back to some of the previous comments on other solutions about the back end, the time for kind of curation and programming and all of that jazz. But I do like that it's being integrated into a technology that is very familiar, probably being used every day for other business purposes. And there might be more uptake because of that.
Yeah. Cool. Good points. Kat?
So I went online last night and did some research in Bot Society because I'd never used it before. And these little windows here in the middle give you an idea of how you do it. So you literally, you can literally set up your pathways by typing, Bot says, hello, how can I help you? It says, can I I'm interested in, or, you know, mental health or whatever the person says. And then she comes back with a response. And it actually was easier than I thought. So you can choose to have it go on Slack. You can have it go on Facebook Facebook Messenger, and a variety of other tools. So I was also wondering about budget, and I actually think that it's achievable to do it. So she's saying it does have a fee of $1,000, so that's quite a lot. I mean, you'd have to be super smart, wouldn't you? You'd have to really understand what
a branching scenario, aren't you? So
you really are
the possible outcomes, the nuances, the variations, the variables. So yeah, it depends on where you're at with creating them, but that's a big consideration.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I think you possibly could do it for 5,000. I think if a client came to Nyla, she'd probably charge a lot more than 5,000 for this solution, because it's just. No.
And I guess it depends on how complex the branching goes. Maybe it's only 1 or 2 levels, right? So
that's right.
It's just, I need a resource on meditation, and it's like, here's our resource, and it pushes that out, as opposed to a full-on kind of coaching chatbot that's like, I'm feeling this, and then making recommendations in a back and forth. So that's another consideration for you guys out there that are doing, you know, thinking about how much effort to put into.
Especially if she was going to, you know, let's say there was all the resources in a tab that said resources. So if any time Welma was asked, is there a resource? She's like, yeah, go there, you dumbass. I told you before, it's a resource up there, you know. So,
well, there's a cranky granny in the
you know, she'd never say that. She'd never say that. I don't know what her accent would be. I wouldn't even try and do it. But anyway, she said she looks so lovely. But I would say, yeah, it depends on how deep you want to go with it. If you want to be super smart with it, you could put things there. Yeah. Yep. So I loved it. As far as, again, something a little bit outside the box, like you said, Ashley, familiar tool. So, and I love the visuals. As always, Nyla, you're a superstar. Shall we move on? No more comments?
I'm done.
Okay. We have got Rekha, who is an e-learning developer at Nutanix. Let's have a look at what Rekha has submitted through. So there's an image as well, so we'll come back to that in a second.
Yeah, okay. So the solution is a blended learning solution where she wants to have a weekly mailer and personal or online session. She's going to have themes of health and well-being that are set up through calendar reminders, which I think is quite cool, using calendar reminders for things such as doing regular stretches at your desk. Such a simple thing to do. Also wants to have mailing content such as flyers that can be repurposed. And it's all about practice and motivation to stay healthy and fit. She wants to use a newsletter as part of this solution that's going to start with a motivational thought. I love things like that really tap into the intrinsic motivation, that why factor, what's in it for me. And then she's going to focus on infographics. She's proposed an idea such as doing fitness sessions following just a YouTube channel, which I think is quite innovative. And then having things like walkathon, cycling events, a book reading session, doing painting, gardening, or team games. And she also wants to encourage weekly challenges where she wants to invest some of the money into small prizes. So that extrinsic reward and giving things like handouts. And yeah, she's got a really nice UI as well that we should check out.
Here we go.
Kath, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I actually never thought about calendars, but when you think about it, you could literally do a group calendar for all of your staff.
Yep.
And yeah, like that's just, it's got my brain. I'm not actually focusing. I'm thinking about the calendar.
You're trying to solve this brief and win the competition.
it's great. It's I love that idea. So
really nice mock-up. I think
absolutely
there's a lot of gamification elements that we quite see.
So have we got, what tool is this being built in?
I don't remember seeing what it said actually.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So it's based on the weeks. It may not even be a tool. So, but these are the weeks that she's focusing on content.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the way she's broken that down on different things for your health and well-being, your physical, emotional intelligence.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Ashley? Overall solution?
I like the visuals, and I also like the breakdown by week. I will say that it may be a bit cumbersome to do weekly challenges, especially in the workplace, because it's definitely something that we want to have that community of like fostering good mental and physical and emotional well-being habits. But people are also needing to focus on their own their own roles within the organization. I do love the idea of the calendar, because I think that's we're glued to our inboxes most often, and I think that that's a really excellent way of pushing out those reminders. I think it'll just be more about managing the volume.
Yes. Yeah. And they don't need to be too complicated, do they? It could be something so simple that she's just triggering through. I mean, you could even, using a calendar, bookmark way in ahead. So this is a reoccurring thing. Yeah. Be interesting how, again, it's one of these things, it's the sky's the limit with what you could do with that. So yeah, very, 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 very interesting. It's got me thinking about a lot of different things, Rekha. Good job. Do we have any more comments? Nunskis. Righty-ho skis.
Time to vote, folks. Well, listen up here. Now YouTube's taken away the polling system, so we're going to have to do something a little bit different. What we've done is we got a Google form. If you jump into the description of the video, you'll be able to get access to that. We're actually voting a little bit differently this time, where you will get to vote based on the criteria of the brief. So the budget, has it been met, the look and feel, and also the instructional design. You will have to vote for everyone, and it will basically tally people for the episode based on your belief of them meeting the client brief. So we're getting more specific now in the requirements. That's how you vote. Link in the description. Check it out. Massive, massive shout out to everyone that submitted this episode. I think really great outside the box thinking. Lots of inspiration for people that are watching the show. Ashley, what's something you would like to put into practice for your own craft that you've learned from something today?
I think I just need to leverage some of the tools I already have at hand without overthinking it so much. It's nice to kind of look at these smaller scale budgets and the very creative solutions that people are coming up with to achieve the goals. So I think I just need to reflect on what I have available to me and how I can make those tools and technologies do different things that I didn't really think as overtly employing for them.
I like that. That's really nice. Back to basics.
Absolutely. Great submissions.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for submitting. Thanks everyone for watching. Share this, subscribe, vote. Ashley, thank you for your time and the value that you've brought by being a guest, and it's really valuable to have you involved and your perspective. Kath, for your comments as well. Haven't thanked you before, Kath, but you're a legend. Thanks for doing all this. The show's pretty cool. Good on you. A little dance there. Everyone, thank you for watching this episode. Get your votes in. Knockout competition on the way to Best Learning Designer of 2020. See who's going to make it through to the next round. Check out the learningconference.online. You will be really impressed about this lineup. You'll be really impressed about the freaking practical walk away tools and skills. If you're liking the show, you're going to love the conference. We encourage you to join us, buy a ticket, check it out. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day, night, wherever you are in the world.
Adios.